Are you ready for a marathon deep cleaning session? Today I have over an hour of the most satisfying cleans, and I'm going to ask you to be as kind as you possibly can while watching this video because my house has gotten dirty. It's bad. And for someone who doesn't get embarrassed a lot and who shares some of the most vulnerable aspects of my life on here, I will admit posting this particular video did make me feel a little bit embarrassed, but I think it's still important to share it. I realise I've been a bit absent this month, and there is a reason for it, and all will be explained by the end of the video. Now, these cleans were all filmed and edited separately over the month of May, and each has its own little header and introduction, so as usual you can pause and come back later after you've finished one, or you can power through and allow me to be your body double for the whole hour and 10 minutes. Whatever works for you. I wanted to post a really long one to make up for my lack of posting recently. So I hope you enjoy the cleans, I hope it gives you some motivation, and of course, I hope you enjoy the good old chat we're going to have along the way. We've got lots to talk about and catch up on, so without further ado, let's get into the first clean. Today we're deep cleaning this toilet and it is gross. So if you've got a sensitive stomach, I'd swipe away now. Told you in the last few videos that my sinks needed unblocking, but even I was shocked at how bad it was. I wasn't sure whether Mr. Muscle was the man for this job, so I used one of those wire bottle cleaning things that I had lying around the house and it worked so well, so I am forever going to recommend this now. Anyway, what I pulled out appears to be streams and streams of string. So I don't think Drain Unblocker would have done anything, but I am going to put some down there after this for good measure. By the way, I hope this goes without saying, but it rarely does, that it wasn't me that put the string down the sink, it was my children. Look at it just kept on going. I found this oddly satisfying though. I know a lot of people will be sat there gagging, but I did give you fair warning. Anyway, that part's over now, you can relax. But don't get too relaxed because we've still got lots more to do. I am getting into everything in these deep cleans, and it's a long one again. I had originally planned to do the Spin the Wheel series again, where I let a random generator pick which room I clean, but that swiftly went out of the window because we had an out of the blue letter that the landlord was coming to visit and I went into full panic mode. So I've gone room to room deep cleaning like my life depended on it. This is the thing with me, if I have an impending deadline, I can work like I've taken that limitless pill. If I don't, I can barely motivate myself to get dressed. It's like a cruel joke. Anyway, I decided to try a new bathroom cleaner today. And it was this elbow grease foam stuff that you're meant to use on bathrooms. It gets rid of like soapy residue and things like that. Now, you all know how much I love elbow grease, but I hate to say it, I do not rate this one. So we reverted back to normal bleach spray. Couldn't get to all the dirt with this toothbrush. So in the end, I went back to using the bottle cleaner. Please do not do this. The metal bit ended up scraping on the porcelain. I didn't realise it was happening, but now it's made this horrible grey stain that I can't get rid of. I really want to try those foam drain cleaners that you spray in the plug and it just expands and gets all of the grime out. I'm sure you've seen the adverts. But I've searched and it doesn't look like they sell it in the UK right now. Very annoying. So if anyone knows of a brand in the UK, please let me know because I am desperate to try it. Now, why have I left it so long between deep cleans, you ask? Well, I'm not going to lie, I have been struggling badly with exhaustion. I don't know quite what's wrong with me, but I can sleep at the minute and I wake up just as tired as I was before. And I'm talking about in my bones, can't keep my eyes open kind of tired. It's been getting to me because I've been having to kind of plan my day around it and when I'm going to need a nap. At the minute, I can wake up and probably get one productive thing done and then that's it. I'll be fighting to stay awake like a zombie for the rest of the day. By the way, toothpick in the cracks, I told you I was going for it in this clean today. But yeah, it isn't great when you've got a toddler to look after and a house to run and a job to attend. And that's just base level commitment. I just want to get through the day without napping. I feel like I'm wasting my life and my children aren't getting me at full potential. And yeah, it's getting me pretty down. Especially because I'd started doing so well with the house as well. But it is what it is. I'm having blood tests and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it. Anyway, enough of my moaning. Let's try and whiten the grout between these tiles. Got my trusty scrubbing brush, and I always find a little bit of bleach solution works wonders. You won't be able to see the difference right away, but wait till the end of the video to see how good it ends up looking. And we'll give the sink one last wipe down and then we're moving on to this disgusting bin. As you can see, overflowing and long overdue a deep clean. Whenever I do a deep clean in a room, I never like to neglect the bin. I always give it a soak in bleachy water and then spray it with a lovely smelling Zoflora so it smells fresh for as long as possible. My favourite Zoflora at the minute is the vanilla and amber. I used to love the sweet pea one, but it got discontinued, I think. All the best things get discontinued. Does anyone remember chicken micro noodles? They used to sell them at Morrison's. Well, a little part of me never recovered after they got discontinued. I think life's downward spiral happened when that got discontinued. I've found as well, even if something isn't discontinued, they'll sneakily change the recipe and make it disgusting. That has happened to so many different things I love over the years. And I just think, how dare you do this? Stop ruining things I love. To be fair, it's probably because they realised the ingredients they were using were terrible for you. But still. Anyway, we're on to the toilet, and a lot of you are going to be fuming with me because I started cleaning it in the wrong order. Had a bit of a brain fart there, I'm not going to lie. I usually clean it from top to bottom, starting with the more sanitary areas, but please let's calm down because I am using bleach and I think we'll survive. And while we're on that subject, because I have to make this reminder every single time, no, I don't use the same sponge on the toilet and the sink. But yeah, because I'm so tired, I keep making ridiculous mistakes all the time. It's like I've got pregnancy brain all over again. You know when you put your keys in the fridge and the butter under the sink and stuff like that? The other day I almost exploded the microwave. I put something that had foil in there, completely slipped my mind that it's metal, and now there's a concave dent at the back and a lightning bolt burn mark. Charlie was like, "What are you doing?" And I don't know, just not on the planet at the minute. Anyway, I'm not sure whether that was a dog hair or a human hair there, but for the purposes of saving face, I'm going to plump with dog. Saving face, who am I kidding? The states you've seen my house in. Just remember, we're firm friends at this point, and friends don't judge each other. All of the deep cleans in this series are equally as bad in some way or another, by the way. So if you enjoy this kind of stuff, you'll be pleasantly surprised. There's lots more to come. I do. As much as I love watching the people who've got their lives together and their houses are always clean, watching something genuinely dirty get clean scratches an itch for me. I am obsessed with watching organised people though. I sit there and live vicariously through them. With the perfectly organised fridges and cupboards and the cleaning routines on specific days, I have tried to stick to routines and schedules. It just does not work for me. It's something I aspire to, but for now, it ain't happening. Look at me go here though. When I manage to get something done, I don't half-arse it. I am making sure this room is spotless. I just wish it'd last longer than a day. I said this to someone the other day. When a room in my house is clean, it's such a novel experience for me that I'll just keep walking in and out to admire it. But yeah, after getting rid of the slimy fingerprints and dust from this cupboard, it was time to get rid of the slimy fingerprints from the door. This door's probably one of the cleaner doors in the house, and you'll see what I'm talking about in the next few videos, but I live with a 2-year-old, what can I say? They've always got something gross on their hands, but I say it's building a good immune system. There's nothing wrong with a bit of dirt. And I very much intend to get both of my children out and helping me in the garden most days this summer. Ike already absolutely loves to get involved. Weed picking, putting down grass seed, you name it, he's getting stuck in. He even ran up to me the other day so excited going, "Mummy, look, I found a leather jacket." I wasn't as thrilled. Leather jackets have permeated our life so much that my 2-year-old knows what they are. I didn't even know they were a thing until I was 30. Let's move on though, because I am fed up of thinking about them. It's time to mop the floor using my favourite scrubbing brush. This is just standard practice for me now in any room. Scrub all the dirt up first and then mop. Look at this. It's just so satisfying. The only thing is though, you have to be careful with these if you've got a certain type of flooring, because too much water will make it raise. I learnt this the hard way. This kind of flooring though, fine. By the way, I think it's important to add here that I am not sponsored by any of the products that I mention in these videos. And I'll repeat that again, I am not gaining anything by talking about these products. If I was, there'd be a little alert at the bottom of the screen letting you know that. If I ever mention a specific tool or cleaning product in these videos, it's because I genuinely think they're amazing. Or it's because it's something new I'm trying out, like that new elbow grease spray. That's it. I don't gain anything financially by talking about them. And I'd have no problem with letting you know if I was. And I just wanted to mention that because I feel like some people have been getting confused. If Elbow Grease or Sif would like to sponsor me though, I would not say no. As of right now though, they don't even know I exist. Now, I've just got one thing left to do, and that is clean this set of drawers. Living with 3 boys, I think you can imagine what's splashed up the side of it. It's disgusting. Nonetheless, it was still very satisfying to clean, especially this bit. I'm even going to take it a step further and clean the potpourri dish, which I never do, but I wanted to finish with as much vigour as I started. Try and repeat that sentence, it's a tongue twister. If there are any interior designery kind of people on here, by the way, please let me know how you'd decorate this bathroom. I really want it to look nice and have plants and have a pop of colour, but my brain just does not know how to do that kind of thing. Bear in mind there's no window for light for the plants in this room. So if you know any plant species that don't need much of it, because I feel like even though it's such a small space, it could still be made lovely. Anyway, deep clean 1, done. This is the second part of my deep cleaning spree, and we're cleaning the upstairs bathroom today. Equally as filthy as the downstairs toilet, but in a different way. So if you enjoyed that one, buckle in. And as always, if you've got a sensitive stomach, you should probably swipe away. Now I'm easing you into it this time, because it doesn't look too bad, does it? Not dirty, just a little bit messy. Wrong. It all goes downhill from here, I'm not going to lie. And yes, you were correct in assuming someone had cut their toenails and left them on the back of the toilet seat. How's that possible? I don't know. Let's just try and get that image out of our minds, shall we? Obviously, in an ideal world, things would be deep cleaned a lot more regularly. But sometimes life gets hectic and things come up. And honestly, it doesn't take long for my bathrooms to get into some states, I tell you. And if watching this helps one person feel less alone for not being able to keep on top of things like everyone else seems to be, then I'm happy. I posted this as a short first and someone said, this isn't a deep clean, this is a regular weekly clean. And I know everybody's different, so when you've finished the video, let me know whether you think this is a deep clean or a regular clean. Because I'm sorry, but I don't know who's doing this amount of cleaning in each room every week, because I've got to do all the other rooms too. And this isn't even taking into account how much tidying we have to do every day. This bathroom alone took hours, and I'm not sure what else I could have done to make it a deep clean. Pull up the flooring, regrout the tiles. Regular bathroom cleans for me are spraying down the toilet, the sink and the bath with bleach and giving everything a quick wipe down. I physically don't have enough hours in the day for the other stuff. Granted, the rooms don't usually get this bad, but as I explained when I was cleaning the downstairs toilet, I've been unwell. And it's not an excuse, it's a reason. And as I always say, we're doing it now, and that's the main thing. It has gotten dusty down the sides of the toilet though, and wait till you see the other side. Ugh. Spraying a bit of extra bleach to let it sit. And here you go. Someone clearly hasn't perfected their aim. But never mind. I will say, as gross as it is, it's very satisfying to watch. And yes, I did throw this sponge away immediately afterwards. Contrary to what some people believe, I'm not just going to take it downstairs, give it a rinse and start washing the pots with it. People seem to have a real problem with me using sponges to clean the bathrooms, but I don't see what the issue is. They get the job done. And they come in handy packs of 10 at my local Asda. Everyone has their little cleaning quirks, don't they? I just like to use sponges. Maybe it's a sensory thing. There's certain textures and sounds that I just cannot cope with. Some scrubbing sounds physically pain me. And then there's some, I love. I remember when I first realised I had some sensory issues that weren't maybe that common in everyone. I was a child and I watched my grandma clean a spillage up off the carpet. And she was just rubbing the carpet with a cloth and the noise of the friction was just horrific. More blocked sinks, thankfully not string this time, just plain hair. But yeah, then she started using her bare hands to scrub. I had to leave the room. How do you do that? Oh. Even now at work we have to wrap cages with these big tubes of cling film. And what people usually do is just hold their fingers in each side of the tube and just run round the cage and wrap it. Me, I cannot bear the friction of the cardboard on my fingers. Wow, I didn't even think this sink was that blocked. But yeah, in order to wrap the cages I have to tuck my hands into my jacket to be able to do it. And there's no mind over matter with it either, there's no push through or grin and bear it. There was one point in my life I wanted to be a massage therapist, because I think working at a spa would be right up my street. But then I thought to myself, I can't even rub oil onto my own stubbly legs for a few minutes, let alone do an hour-long massage. Thinking about it, it's a real hindrance. Oh well, that's what we managed to gather from that plug. Lovely. If you've got this far into the clean, I think we're over the worst of it. There's still some more satisfying stuff coming up, but nothing as bad as the side of the toilet and that mutant moustache I've just pulled out of the drain. Although I think it's safe to assume if you're still watching at this point, you're a bit strange like me, and you like watching gross things get cleaned. I really want to know the psychology behind why people like watching things like deep cleans and blackhead popping and all of that. Why do some of us love it so much? I know not everyone does, obviously, but what is it about it that we find so satisfying? Because it's something that we all have to do in our daily lives anyway. By that logic, we should all find it boring, but I literally cannot skip a good cleaning video. I find it so soothing, and I think it's because maybe my brain's so chaotic that watching someone clean and tidy up their space is a tonic for that. I'd like to hear other people's opinions because I'm very fascinated. Anyway, that's the sink all cleaned and unblocked, and now it's time to begin on the bath. Now this bath is constantly getting grubby at the minute, but it's not from the kids' bath slime this time. It's from Charlie's Dr. Squatch soaps. He has been obsessed with them ever since he found out about them. If there's a man on social media who doesn't know what Dr. Squatch is at this point, I'd be very surprised. But basically it's this brand of natural soap, and there's loads of different flavours, or should I say smells, and they do smell lovely. But he's using this black one at the minute and it just looks like black mould all over the tiles. Anyway, I went in with the new elbow grease bathroom cleaner and it's still not growing on me. I wanted to give it another chance, but no, it's disappointed me. But elbow grease is going to redeem itself later down the line because I'm going to be doing some more blind cleaning and I absolutely love it for cleaning blinds and kitchen cupboards. The scrubbing brush wasn't cutting it here, so I used one of my exfoliating mitts and it worked very well. Just keep watching. I can't believe how much better it is than the scrubbing brush. And yes, I am back to the bleach spray. That bathroom cleaner just isn't for me. And by the way, there was no mixing of products. I know, and we should all know how dangerous that is. Do not mix bleach with other cleaning products. I've been guilty of it in the past, even in some of these videos, but you live and you learn, and I've learnt so much making these videos. Right, watch this. Watch how the scrubbing brush isn't really doing much on the rubber seal. And in comes the exfoliating mitt. I've gave you a new hack there, an exfoliating mitt for cleaning the bath and the bath tiles. Very impressed with that. Okay, next job was to clean the lime scale off this tap. I thought I'd carry on using the mitt because it's easier to get to the hard to reach places. At one point I started wearing it over my glove, but I don't know if I filmed any of that. But all of that came off very easily and it looks brand new now. My tripod's staring at you there through the tap. Some people ask me who films me. Nobody. I have a little cheap tripod from Amazon and I film on my phone. And I edit everything on my phone too. Even my YouTube videos, all filmed and edited on my iPhone. You don't have to have all this fancy high-tech equipment to start. But you never know, starting that way will mean maybe one day you can buy that kind of stuff. Anyway, now it's time to clean the shower head. I was leaving no stone unturned in this clean. I had to make up for all the time I left between the last deep clean. Because at this point, it's kind of a case of I don't know when my energy levels are going to drop down to nothing again. So I always try and take advantage of the days I'm feeling semi-okay. The toothpick wasn't doing what I thought it'd do here and I was really disappointed. So I gave it another spray over with the limescale remover, had another go with the toothpick and I thought, no, this is a job for the scrubbing brush. And that definitely did the trick, because it's back to looking good as new now. The dopamine is in full swing. By the way, a lot of people have speculated on what they think is causing my tiredness. And I don't like the use of tiredness actually. Fatigue, exhaustion. But as I'm getting blood tests, and I am getting tested for everything, let's put your bets on. Some people have said thyroid, some people have said low vitamin D, low iron, pregnancy. I'm not pregnant. ADHD, burnout, gluten intolerance, celiac disease. Could be anything. Could be nothing. But if the blood tests come back normal, I don't know where to go from there because this cannot be all in my head. If the bloods do come back normal, she's sending me to a sleep clinic to test for sleep apnea. So we shall see. Anyway, we're on to the final stretch of this clean, and at this point I was getting fed up, so I lit a candle to spur me on. I always find this helps me because it gives me an idea of how nice the room's going to feel once it's finished. By the way, yes, I do have trainers on here. It helps me keep focused. Camera giving me an insight into angles I don't usually have to see and reminding me that I need to do some squats. That pink stain there wouldn't go away, and it's an imprint from a Lush bag that had got stuck onto the floor. So I thought I'll let some bleach sit on it and see what happens. And we've almost done it. We've almost completed our second deep clean. Just got to finish the last bit of mopping and see whether that bleach did the trick. Look at that. Perfect. So it's that time of year again, where the sickness bug has ever so kindly graced us with its presence. And out of all the challenges that come along with being a parent, dealing with sickness bugs is something I am never going to be able to get used to. It's the unpredictability of it. The staying awake, making sure nobody's sick in their sleep, not knowing how long it's going to last, not knowing whether you're going to catch it as well and have to look after sick children while you're throwing up. Someone was sick down the side of this bed, so I had to brave cleaning it finally after 3 years? And no, I'm not proud of that, but it was out of sight, out of mind. And I was obviously going room to room doing deep cleans anyway, but now it's an extra deep clean. So we're going to get to all the places I never usually get to. But yeah, another thing that gets me is the guilt of having to ring in sick. Not just for us, but for the kids. I think even more so with the kids. I don't know if it's the same for every child's school, but there's a massive focus on attendance at my son's. And it's something that's never sat right with me. They get certificates for 100% attendance each term. And sometimes they hand them out while the parents are there, and although I want to show support and clap for my little boy, I can't help but thinking, this is just wrong. Children don't have any control over their health. If they're well and able enough to be in school every day, it's because they're lucky enough to be. And there are some kids with health issues or other obligations who are never going to be able to meet that 100% attendance. And so the fact that some children are rewarded and cheered on in front of the school while the other children sit there, potentially thinking they're bad because of it, I don't know, I'd much rather see my son receive an award for his kindness or his creativity or how hard he tries. And by the way, I know these blinds are absolutely revolting. It's because we live right next to a bus stop and we always have the windows open, so everything gets dusty and grimy. And I can't take the blinds off because they're drilled into the wall, so I can't just soak them in the bath, but elbow grease does the job. Anyway, while we're on the topic of the trials of parenting, I'd just like to say this. Although it's stressful dealing with fevers and sickness bugs, I think it's important that we always take time to stop and reframe our perspectives on these kind of situations, especially given what's happening in the world right now. To be able to nurture your poorly child back to health in a safe home is a privilege not afforded to everybody. And it's something that I kept on reminding myself of, as I was cleaning sick-covered clothes and bed sheets for what felt like the millionth time, that this type of stress, compared to what some other people are dealing with right now, is still a blessing. I hope one day a few days of nausea and vomit-covered carpets would be the universal standard of a bad day for all parents. Anyway, those stains on the wall were from the blinds constantly scraping on it when it was windy. This one was from the boys, I don't know what they'd wiped on it. But I really didn't think I stood a chance of getting rid of the blind marks without repainting. And I was pleasantly surprised. Elbow grease saves the day again, although it was taking the paint off on some areas. Never mind, it looks better than it did before. I really got into this clean. I wiped down all the walls that had been gathering grime and fingerprints and pen marks for years. And it was so satisfying. I had a movie on, a candle lit. It was great. It never occurred to me to do a proper deep clean in the bedrooms the way you would a bathroom or a kitchen. But I just kept finding more and more things to clean that I wouldn't have originally thought of, and I felt so accomplished after it was done, and it smelt amazing. So it's definitely something I'm going to try and do a lot more often from now on. There's something about that first clean after everyone in the house has been ill, isn't there? And the first shower, where you finally feel human, and you can wash your hair and change your clothes and you no longer smell like mouldy cheese. This bug really knocked us all for six, and it was so random. The night before, we'd all been sat playing Lego in the boys' room and everything was normal. And then they went to bed, and about 11 p.m, they both wake up almost at the same time, throwing up. I'm spraying Zaflora on everything wooden in here because I didn't want to use bleach, but I still wanted to disinfect it. So yeah, it was really sudden, and I thought, oh God, I bet it was the fish fingers I'd cooked earlier. Because me and Charlie didn't eat them, we had something else. And we were feeling fine. At the time. The worst part about it was Rudy's birthday literally the next day. He was absolutely devastated, bless him. And yeah, again, like every year, me and Charlie got too big for our boots and thought it wasn't going to get us. As you can probably tell from my appearance here, how wrong were we? I look like a Tim Burton character. On a positive note, it still wasn't as bad as the time we got it a few years ago. And I've already told this story multiple times, so I'm not going to turn your stomach with it again. But yeah, I'm glad it's over for another year, and hopefully it stays away for a couple more this time. Any parents out there with older kids, when do the sickness bugs stop becoming a regular thing? I suppose we've got lots more to come because my youngest isn't even at school yet. So I was bleaching every single door handle in the house within an inch of its life, because me and Charlie had to go back to work the day after this, and my dad was coming to babysit, and I did not want to make him poorly. We'd already spread it to my mum, my stepdad, my auntie, my nephew. It was a bad one. Whatever it was very easily spread. I do apologise to anyone with emetophobia. So I'll move on and stop talking about it now. This sticker had been on the door for at least 2 years, and I finally took the time to peel that off. Got down and cleaned all the skirting boards. According to some people, the cleaning of the skirting boards is the difference between a normal clean and a deep clean. For me, I just clean them when they look dusty. And I know if I cleaned them more often, they never would look dusty, but there you go. We're hoovering in preparation for my favourite job of all time. Shampooing the carpets. Nothing beats this for me. Watching a stain disappear, pouring away the dirty water, love it. Although some of the stains weren't budging, and there are some crusty baby bell shells that are just welded into the carpet now. Nothing I can do about that, so we're just making the best of the situation and getting rid of what we can. I can't wait to show you me cleaning the hallway and the stairs. The carpets there are basically brown now. And I'm going to repaint the railing and the skirting boards coming up the stairs because they're starting to crack, so that's going to be satisfying. I've also got loads of appliances I need to clean in this little deep cleaning rampage. My oven in particular is shameful, and you're going to judge me, there's no getting around it, it's revolting. But my hoover also needs cleaning, and the washing machine. I think I might do the hoover tomorrow, something a bit smaller, because I am knackered. I find when I've set myself a big task like this one, deep cleaning all of the rooms and appliances, I start off with loads of enthusiasm and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get all of this done in a few days. But the second something inevitably comes up and throws me off track, like a sickness bug, everything becomes overwhelming and I feel like I'm behind on this imaginary timescale I've set for myself. Changes from something fun and something I actually wanted to do to something looming over my head that I need to get out the way before I can relax. So I've been trying to be a lot more chilled with it and just with making videos in general, especially with me feeling so ill and tired recently. I keep telling myself there's no rush, you don't have to be so prolific, no one's holding you to a standard apart from yourself. So I've decided to just wake up each morning, assess how I'm feeling and what else I need to do, and then work around that. I've also been reminding myself it's okay if I don't manage to finish a room in a single day. It's okay to stop and come back at another time. The mess will still be there. And it's so funny because it's something that I tell other people all the time. But I can't seem to be able to live by my own words in this instance. It's true though, when it comes to our ability to keep on top of things, there will be times where we're just not on top form. There'll be times where things build up, and times when our productivity ebbs and flows. I think we attach so much of our value as humans to how productive we are and how much we get done in a day. We've forgotten that we're just as valuable and likeable and important on the days that we've chosen or been forced to rest or have fun. So yeah, I just thought that was a good reminder to end this clean with, that the mess will still be there and it will come back again and again after you've cleaned it. So look after yourself and don't miss out on life trying to obtain an unobtainable standard. And here is another room done and smelling amazing. Today, I'm giving our disgusting hoover a deep clean because it's starting to pong. This is the first deep clean I've done on this hoover since we got it, and that was about 5 or so months ago now. Obviously, I'm not talking about the detachable container bit, that's cleaned more often, but all the other little bits and bobs, the filters, the tubes, I just hadn't found the time to get round to it. So I started off by rinsing this spongy thing, I think it's a filter. Then I gave it a wash with some washing up liquid. I'm not sure what the best product is for cleaning these things. I'm sure somebody will educate me. And then after I did that, I let everything soak in some Zaflora because I find it makes everything smell amazing when you're hoovering. Then I went back to try and clean this bit and didn't realise until halfway through that I could take it out. So that was a waste of a minute and a half. Then I found another filter under that I'm pretty sure you're meant to replace, not wash, but I'm going to wash it today because I don't have a replacement. As you can clearly tell, I don't know much about hoovers. OGs will remember when I broke the old one by washing the bit that lights up. It was the shark hoover that you couldn't take apart to clean, so I tried to pour water into it and broke the entire thing. I would not recommend that. Anyway, this one you can actually take apart a little bit and it's much better than the other one I had. Thankfully, the bottom of it wasn't too bad. It's usually clogged up with hair and I have to cut through it with scissors. Chucked the spinny bit into the pool of Zaflora and then peeled out these congealed bits of dust, which was very satisfying. I'm actually really chuffed with how little hair there is stuck underneath this. This is the Shark Anti-Hair Wrap Pet version, I think, and the other one I had was just a Shark corded upright vacuum. This one's proving so much easier to clean already. My old one as well, it used to suction to the floor like a plec. It was okay for carpets, but on certain hard surfaces, it just wouldn't pick anything up because it was just pulling the floor up. But yeah, loads of people ask what hoover I'm using in the videos, and if I think it's good, and yes, I love it. I came to join in with the cleaning here, bless him. I was determined this hoover was going to smell incredible. And now it's time for the best bit. As I said earlier, I know I'm not very clued up on hoovers and how to clean them, but I do know that I don't have time to be taking it apart all the time and cleaning all the little bits. Judging from the state of this water though, I might need to start making time. I could not believe how much dirt came out of the tube alone. Look at that. I had the shower head on the other end of the tube and I was just pouring water through it and it was so satisfying watching all the dirt come out. Obviously, I did bleach this bath after I was finished. It's not ideal to do it in the bath, but there was no other place I could have done it. I remember when I made that rug cleaning video last summer and people were furious that I did it in the bath. You've got to make do with what you've got, and as long as you sanitise it afterwards, I don't see the problem. People were questioning why I didn't do it outside in the garden as well, and it's because I didn't want to kill my grass. I've been struggling for a few years to keep the lawn alive, and the last thing I wanted to do was pour cleaning products on the lawn. Even indirectly, if I did it on my little patio, things still leach into the soil, don't they? So yeah, bathtub it is for now. Anyway, after we got rid of the main accumulation of dirt, I went in with a baby wipe and got rid of the stubborn bits. The hoover gets really sticky in my house thanks to the kids. And I know after this deep clean, it will pretty much look exactly the same after a few days, but there you go. At least I'll know it's been cleaned. And the house is going to smell like Zaflora every time I hoover. So I rinsed all the dirt away and then left it to sit in some bleach for a little bit longer. Made sure to give the tube one last rinse through before I did that, just to make sure we got as much of the dirt as we possibly could. And then while that was soaking, I rinsed off the filters and the other bits and bobs. I didn't want to leave Zaflora residue on there because I didn't know whether it was flammable or not, and that can't be safe. I've actually just stopped to research that, and it is flammable until it's been highly diluted with water. So there you go, always dilute your Zaflora as much as you can. And maybe plump for something else in hoover filters just to be on the safe side. But yeah, according to the instructions, Zaflora becomes non-flammable when diluted. Anyway, last thing I needed to do was dry everything out in the lovely sunshine. Peep my healthy grass, I have defeated the leather jackets. And here is a before and after. Looks brand new. Today we're going to deep clean and repaint the living room. As you can see, the walls are so grubby, and I've repainted so many times because with these walls, you can't just wipe them clean, it takes all the paint off with it. Got my little helper here, bless him. And I have finally invested in some wipeable paint. After a year of people suggesting it in the comments, mind, but better late than never. And now, hopefully, I won't have to repaint again until I decide to redecorate. I know using a roller is better for texture, but it splashes everywhere and I don't have anything to cover the floor with. And if you're wondering how the walls keep getting so grubby, because I think this is my third video in my 2-year career on social media where I've done this, I don't know what to tell you. My kids like wiping their slimy little claws on the walls. And honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I find painting so therapeutic. I don't know if anyone clocked the little plaster on my arm, but I have finally had my blood tests and we're awaiting the results now, so I'll keep you posted with that. And I'm asking you now to trust the process with this repaint, because I know it doesn't look great while it's being applied, but it looks so much better when it's dried. And it's made such a difference to the room overall. I almost cried covering up this handprint. I kind of wanted to frame it, but it was too low down. Here's what the wall's looking like so far. But yeah, am I the only mum like that? Knowing that his tiny little hand will never be that size again. Oh, it hurts my heart. I'm just so sentimental with everything. One of the things I didn't imagine would happen when I became a parent was that I'd find myself in this constant state of mourning. Not in a morbid way, but you literally watch your kids morph in front of your eyes faster than your brain has time to process it. And it feels like as soon as you're catching up and adjusting to one stage of childhood, they're already in another. It just makes you hyper aware of how fleeting time is, doesn't it? I know in a blink of an eye my boys are going to be taller than me, and I'll think back to those handprints on the wall and wonder how it was possible that they were ever that small. It just makes me sad. I'm sadder than I thought I'd be as a mum. But I was an overly emotional, nostalgic person before I became a mum, so I don't know what I was expecting. Anyway, how satisfying is this paint application? I know it's not on the same level as those painter decorators you see on TikTok with the perfect precision, but you get to have a good old chat and catch up with me as I do it, so swings and roundabouts. This whole deep clean was actually filmed over 3 separate days, and I was talking about this the other day. I'm trying to stop putting so much pressure on myself to get things done all at once. You know how I'll often do big clean-up videos where I'll tidy the whole house in a few hours? Or I'll spend the entire day filming a deep clean. It can sometimes be to the detriment of other areas of my life. I have a really all or nothing mindset. I really struggle with finding balance, especially when it comes to things like housework. And I'm trying to convince myself that if I don't have the energy to do hours and hours of work, just doing something or picking something up as I'm walking from one room to the next, it still makes a difference in my overall to-do list. Even if the house doesn't look that much different after I've done 1 or 2 tasks, something is better than nothing. The way these doors look is an example of what happens when I become hyper-focused on one task to the detriment of another. I've been putting so much time and effort into making the house tidy every day, because it gets messy so fast and so often, that the actual cleaning's been neglected. And then sometimes it'll swing the other way and I'll be really zoned in on keeping it clean, but then the mess creeps up. I've never been great at juggling things efficiently. I think this mentality stems from the fact that I can spend hours and hours working on a room only for it to be trashed the second the kids step into it. And then I have nothing to show for my work and I feel like I've wasted my precious time a little bit. And I know that's not the case because it needs to be done regardless. But with a deep clean like this, in the back of my mind it's just like, if I do something and then come back to finish the rest another day, all of my hard work's going to be undone, and then I'm going to have to redo and go over what I've already done if I want the entire room to be clean all in one go. So I'd rather do it all in one go and then be able to bask in it for an hour at least. But then I can't keep doing it all in one go because it's making me burn out. Now I know that probably sounds like a lot of rambling, but maybe someone can relate. And if you can, you're not alone. It's exhausting trying to keep up with everything and most of the time it not actually looking like you've done anything. That's especially evident when you put yourself out there on the internet and people are constantly criticising you and telling you how they do it better or that you're not training your children and partner correctly. Charlie does so much around the house behind the scenes. I'm getting a lot of comments on YouTube recently that people are bored and they're sick of seeing me repeat the same cycles of cleaning. And I just think, yeah, you're sick of it. Same. But this is my real life and why can't I show that? People aren't obligated to watch and it helps a lot of people. And I see all of the lovely comments as much as I see the bad. And I put so much pressure on myself to live up to your expectations because I don't want to let you down. But at the end of the day, I don't want to start pandering to what I think people want to see, or stress myself out trying to find ways to keep it fresh and interesting, because then I'm not being true to myself or why I started this channel anymore. I came here to be authentic, hold myself accountable, and keep people company as they clean. And I've always said to myself, what you have to say today, Remy, is what some people will need to hear. The people who need the video will find the video. And I've always trusted that. Get ready for the behind the settee reveal. Not as bad as it normally is, but still very sticky. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. Things always manage to get spilt and dropped down the middle of the settee. Took a few generous sprays of elbow grease to dislodge the crumbs and sweet wrappers and pieces of Lego that were welded onto the floor. But we got there. And yeah, back to what I was saying. You'll also get lovely people with the best intentions saying stop over-explaining yourself in your videos. Or you don't need to justify yourself to anybody. But until you've been in this type of situation, and I know I've willingly put myself here, and there are so many benefits to being in this position, but until you've been in this situation, where you're being vulnerable in a space where you're inevitably going to get a consistent onslaught of hate and criticism, you don't realise how much it can permeate into that person's psyche and into their real daily life, and make them question everything about themselves. I said from the beginning, these videos not only serve as a way to help people like me find motivation with their homes, but it's also a kind of diary for me where I get to chat about anything and everything. It's a way I express myself creatively. And part and parcel of that expression and me being completely true and honest is talking about my experiences as a content creator. It's not to garner sympathy or justify, it's just talking about what is, the positives and the negatives. It's difficult as a content creator, especially when your videos start getting a lot of traction, to stay balanced and grounded, to separate yourself and your home life from your work, and to remember who you are and what you stand for. And I'm proud of myself for being able to do that. It's something I worry about a lot. So yeah, if I'm repetitive sometimes, so be it. Life can be repetitive sometimes. We all have to clean the same rooms and do the same things over and over again. But I like to think in each video, regardless of whether I'm cleaning the same room, when we have our little chats, that it means something to you, and that it lightens your mood a little bit or makes you feel seen. Anyway, enough of that rambling. As part of this deep clean, I wanted to wash all of the pillowcases and the blankets. I thought I'd take apart the bouncer and give that a wash. We keep this here just in case Ike has a nap during the day. It's safer than putting him on the settee or risking carrying him up the stairs and him waking up. I even wanted to clean the Dougie chair because that's getting a bit grubby, but unfortunately it doesn't have a zip, which makes absolutely no sense to me, but whatever. Let's get this part of the room mopped. My issue with mopping the living room is I can never do it while everybody's around. It has to be when everyone's out of the house or everyone's asleep. Because toddlers and pets haven't got the memo that you shouldn't walk across a bleached floor. I've explained it to them. They don't care. Look at that gross water. A job well done. Although I did expect it to be dirtier than that, to be fair. Next up, I call this Slug Central. Slugs always come through the front door at night and slither around under the table that I keep here next to all the toys. I find it deeply upsetting. But I refuse to put down slug pellets because not only are they horrible for the slug, they're dangerous to other wildlife and they're dangerous to people. Next, I thought I'd give all the toys a good deep clean. These Duplos were sticky as anything, and do you know what Ike did after I'd washed them? Took them straight outside to his muddy corner in the garden, so that was pointless. But he had fun. The muddy corner's where we're putting the sand pit, which I've actually got now, but it's not been assembled yet. So at least when we put that up, he'll still be able to dig, because he's absolutely loving the muddy corner at the minute. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen the picture of him the other day absolutely covered in mud, surrounded by all of his cars. He's definitely an outdoor baby. I just can't wait to get the garden complete. It's been a long time coming. I've been constantly going on about it for almost 2 years now, and it's finally nearly done. Time to hoover some stale quavers out of the Play-Doh box. Thank you, Ike. I've been dying to get my hands on all of these toys, but there's always been something more important that I needed to do first. I'm one of those people, though, who thinks we could stand to have a little bit more muck in our lives these days. Children only have this one chance to develop their immune system, and everything seems to be so over-sanitised. Yes, it's important to be clean, but I think sometimes we can go overboard with it. That's not to say I'm not acknowledging that my house has got extremely grubby, I know it has, and that's not great either. But we need a bit of dirt and bacteria to build an immune system. Living in a sterile environment is just as dangerous to our health in the long run. Anyway, because I couldn't wash Dougie, I decided to use the carpet vac on him. And it didn't work as well as I'd hoped, but it did clean him up a little bit. I also put the 2 mini Dougies in the washing machine and they came out looking brand new. After I finished this, I didn't have that much left to do. I just wanted to give the settee itself a good clean because it's been looking really greasy and there's some food and pen marks on it. And I was so excited to just be finished with this room. It's dragged on forever. Still haven't managed to finish all the painting, I'm sure you've noticed. But I've been waiting for Charlie to do the higher up bits for me. And behind the TV, I daren't move the TV stand in case I tip it over. But anyway, as a treat for getting it all done finally, I'm going to sit and binge watch the new Bridgerton and I cannot wait. I'm really annoyed though that they've split it into 2 halves. Why would you do that to us? But yeah, I love everything about Bridgerton. It's such a lovely escape. And you need one these days, don't you? The only thing that'd improve it for me is if they brought back Simon and Daphne. I hate it when characters just leave. But yeah, that's the settee done. Cushions back on. Brought the rug back in and forgot I needed to hoover. Took this one hoover to ruin all my hard work deep cleaning it the other day. Smells gross again now, but never mind. I've been watching Clarkson's Farm as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Jeremy Clarkson, but I find this really wholesome. All the clean Dougies. Look how much better they look. And I just needed to wipe all the fingerprints off the telly. Took everyone's advice and didn't spray directly onto the screen this time. This TV is already on its last legs as it is. It's got lines going all across the screen, but I'm waiting for it to completely give in before we buy a new one. And last but not least, I just needed to give the top of it a dust and the stand a good wipe down. I probably should have moved the TV to wipe behind it, but I didn't because it meant taking all the wires out. And the living room is done. We're deep cleaning the kitchen today, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, but this clean is the gift that keeps on giving. I've done some deep cleans in my time, but I don't think I've ever done a deep clean this thorough before. At least not in one go. I left no stone unturned. I'm cleaning the walls, the doors, the appliances, touching up the paintwork. And I found some pretty grim and shameful things in this kitchen that I really should have got to sooner, I'm not going to lie. But by the time I was finished, it was sparkling in here and the room was back to being my favourite room in the house. I am most definitely a kitchen person. The kitchen is my calm space. But I know everyone's different. There are bedroom people, living room people, garden people. But I've never met a person who doesn't have a favourite room in the house. By the way, that won't be the first cobweb you see me clean today. I don't like to clean them while the spiders are actually on them. Spiders help the home, they get rid of flies. And I might be weird, but I like cobwebs around the house. I like to imagine I'm a little witch who lives in a cottage. Anyway, as you can see, every surface and wall in this house is revolting. Won't be surprising to you at this point though, if you've followed me for a while, the house gets grubby fast. The walls have been this way for a while in here. I really need to repaint. But we used to have 2 dogs. We had Mushroom and Onion. And if you were here in the very early days of this account, you'll have seen them both. But Onion was a lovely, fluffy white cockapoo, and he passed away last summer. He was only 1, bless him. But yeah, you can imagine how dirty things would get when it was raining outside, and then 2 muddy dogs had come in from the garden, shaking mud and water all over everything. If it meant that we could bring him back to life though, I'd have muddy walls permanently. There were the other cobwebs. Because they were above the oven, they were covered in a layer of grease, and so when I tried to wipe them away, it wiped the grease onto the walls, so that was nice. Made another mistake here using elbow grease to try and wipe this layer of grime away. Ended up wiping the paint off the walls, so it looks worse than when I started. Never mind, it's just given me that much more of a push to redecorate in here. Anyway, let me tell you about a comment I got the other day, and tell me whether you think it was rude or offensive. Look at me swipe the grease off here, so satisfying. But yeah, I really do think she thought she was coming from a well-meaning place, but it was definitely, and I don't like using this word too much, but it was triggering. Charlie had to help me get this extractor fan grate down. I didn't even know you could remove it, hence why it's so filthy. So the comment went something like this. I'm sorry if you don't have the space to hear this right now, but in the few videos I've watched, I've noticed a pattern. You may think that my opinion is poo, But I know if it were me, I'd like some tough love over fake niceties. When you were smaller, so she'd gone through my Instagram photos clearly. When you were smaller, i.e. the photos of you when your firstborn was little, you had beautiful and delicate fey features. Helping your family is so wonderful and I really love these videos, but you need to take care of yourself, even walking with the pram for a few hours a day. That feyness is your sweet healthiness peeking out. I see a depressed and tired mum in your videos. Yeah, I am tired, but I'm not depressed. But I also see how healthy and beautiful you'll be when you start to take care of you. Brackets, maybe a new baby will come when you're a healthy, alluring version of you again. How's that for some tough love? What an insightful woman. Now, I get a lot of questionable comments and people being rude, but I really wanted to address this comment because I've never gotten anything quite like it before. And I feel like it's a teachable moment because it highlights why it's so important not to make comments or assumptions based on someone's weight or appearance. I think in this day and age, though, we should all realise that regardless of context or backstory, it's never acceptable to make comments on someone's weight. So I just want to go through the comment and pick it apart a bit. When I looked like that fey-like creature when my youngest was small, I was going through a traumatic breakup. I couldn't bring myself to eat much at all, and so I lost a ton of weight in such a short space of time. I may have looked like the picture of health, but I absolutely wasn't, mentally or physically. And I think this attitude's so pervasive today. This idea that just because someone's thin, it automatically means they're healthy, and vice versa. By the way, you're about to see the burn mark at the back of the microwave from when I almost blew it up. And yes, the top of it is so dirty. Sue me. And yeah, the amount of full-fat fizzy drinks I drank when I was a size 4 was ridiculous. Like you would have been disgusted. And yet, I didn't gain an ounce. Not saying I'm the healthiest version of me I possibly could be right now. We all know I'm on a health journey. And I speak about it consistently on this channel. So she clearly hasn't watched that many of my videos because the comment about walking with the pram. Like I haven't done that every single day since Ike was a baby, until he didn't want to go in the pram anymore. Like I haven't told you guys I always get my steps in. Like my job isn't an active one. It's just this complete presumption that because I'm overweight, I must sit and slob on the settee all day. This idea that she was giving me some groundbreaking advice that I'd never thought of before. Take care of you. Exercise. Oh, thanks. You've opened my eyes. The thing is, as much as a lot of people refuse to acknowledge it, things aren't just black and white. Metabolism plays a huge role in weight, as do hormones. And these things change as we move through life. I eat healthier and a lot less than I did when I was a size 4 before I had kids. And then I got pregnant, and I had 2 hyperemesis pregnancies. And those pregnancies forced my body into starvation mode because I couldn't keep any food down. In my first pregnancy, I went from 7 stone to 5 within a few months. So when I started to feel better and I started to eat again, exactly the same as I was eating before, my body piled on weight because it was like, oh my God, I need to hold on to every single molecule of this in case the food goes away again. That does happen. And the effect the pregnancies have had on my body affect me to this day. I just think it was so obnoxious and patronising. The I see a depressed mum comment. Yeah, a lot of the time I clean in mismatched PJs, my hair's messy, I look tired, I am tired, but I'm so fulfilled. In the relationship I'm in now, I've finally been given the space to not have to be perfect. I've been given the space to work on my hobbies, to make these videos, to do things I'm passionate about. The burden of parenthood and keeping on top of the house, not that those things are a burden, but you know what I mean, that isn't solely put upon me. When I was that skinny mum, when my firstborn was small, I was so self-conscious and so consumed with being thin that everything else in my life that should have been important got put on the back burner. That wasn't health. That was living a half-life. So when I make these videos and you see me cleaning in my PJs, You're absolutely not looking at a depressed mum who's given up on everything and who's forced to clean up for everyone else around me. You see someone who's confident and content and engaging in a creative outlet that luckily allows me to provide a second income for my family. I'm living in my power. And that last comment, do you think she was insinuating I don't get any because I'm overweight? That's how it read to me. Quite the opposite. I might be big, but I'm still awesome. And as shocking as it is when I walk around looking like that creature from the bog of eternal stench, Charlie worships the ground I walk on. So yeah, pregnancy is what did this to me. So suggesting that when I'm quote-unquote attractive again, maybe I'll be gifted with another pregnancy was just the icing on the cake. And I'm not going to lie, it really annoyed me. And to the person who commented it, if you're watching this now, don't do that to people. I'm really not above calling people out on harmful behaviour masquerading as advice. You picked the wrong person. And if anyone watching this is in the same headspace I was 6 years ago, please remember that you're so much more than what you look like. And as cliche as it sounds, looks are always going to fade, but who you are on the inside carries on. So make sure you're proud of that person. Anyway, it was time to get some elbow grease on all of the cupboard doors. I think we can underestimate just how much this one simple thing can transform the appearance of the entire room. Honestly, wiping down the cupboards made them 2 shades lighter. It's like when you go nose blind to smells. You might not always realise when the dirt's building up because it's so gradual. And aside from the obvious mud and food marks, they looked white to me until I cleaned them. As you've probably noticed as well, the plastic's chipping off them and it looks so unsightly. Washing up machine as well, covered in mud. Mud marks and fingerprints are just something that's unavoidable at this stage in my life. But yeah, for the bits of cupboard that are chipping, I'm just going to paint it white. I know that's not the best solution and it's not going to look perfect, but it'll do to disguise it for the time being. There's been a little brown glob of something on the top of the washing machine for months, and I never got round to getting rid of it, so let's see what it is. Whatever it is, it was Ike that did it, I know that for a fact. And it is banana. Could be worse. As you've probably noticed through this video, I am wearing multiple different outfits, and that's because this was filmed over multiple different days. Yet again. The thought of doing it all in one day was just too overwhelming, and I'm just too tired. And speaking of being tired, I got my blood tests back, and anyone who guessed low iron, you were correct. My iron levels are literally on the floor, so no wonder I've been constantly tired. So I'm on iron tablets now. Honestly, the exhaustion has just been horrific. And I'm so relieved it's something I can fix, because it's really been getting me down. And that's why I haven't been making as many videos as I'd like to. I'm just behind on everything really, but hopefully that improves a bit from now on. What we thinking of this paint job? It's not the best, is it? But it looks less obvious than it did, and it looks alright from far away, so that's good enough for me. These bits here next to the oven are from Mushroom chewing them up when she was younger. She used to purposely push a ball into the gaps and turn it into a game, where one of us would have to keep going back and getting the ball out for her. And then one day we were busy, and she just chewed chunks out of the side trying to get it back. When it happened, I tried to fill the gaps in with this decorative putty that dries, with the intention of sanding it back into shape, failed miserably, and so now it just looks like we've got grey blobs on either side of the oven. So I decided to paint them as well. Now, another sensitive stomach warning for you. It's time to clean the bin. Oh my god, the stench. This is what happens when people empty the bin and don't put a bin liner back in. Yes, Charlie, I'm talking to you. Although, judging from the bottom, I think some of the bags might have burst as well. Never mind, it's easily solved. Told you this clean was the gift that keeps on giving though, especially if you like gross things. And there's lots more to come. I kept putting some bleach in, a little bit of water, letting it sit and coming back. Did this multiple times before I realised I was actually going to have to scrub the bottom, which I really didn't want to do, did not want to put my arm in there. But needs must. Look at the colour of the water that kept coming out. And yes, I am cleaning it in the bath, yes again. If this bath were a person, I would be its worst enemy. I am using hot water here, and I know you're not meant to use it with bleach, but I was trying to dislodge what was left at the bottom. We're getting there. Time to scrub. Ignore my massive head blocking the view. Sometimes you just don't manage to get the camera angles right. You're continuously learning when you make videos. Someone asked me the other day how I managed to talk for such long stretches of time, or how I figure out what to say. And again, it's just practice. It's just carrying on doing something until you become more and more confident. When I first made videos, I couldn't speak in them. And now, I don't think I'd be able to make a video without speaking. I like to have a chat, and I think it serves as a body double. You know when you struggle to clean without someone being there with you? Not everyone's got someone who can be there physically with them, so I like to be that person. Anyway, just giving the outside of the bin a good bleach down. And then I'm going to fill the bath with Zoflora and let it soak for a few hours. I often wipe down the bin with Zoflora in my videos, and people always question what I'm doing. It's to make the bin smell nice. My mum's just brought me the new apricot and vanilla one, the limited edition. I'm so excited to use that one. I love a citrusy smell and I love vanilla smells, so right up my street. Speaking of smells, let me tell you what I did the other night. So over the last few weeks I've developed an obsession with Bridgerton to the point where I've been watching it over and over again and staying up way past my bedtime. Well, the other night I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning, started scrolling through my phone and ended up buying the entire Lush Bridgerton collection. Didn't even know what it smelt like, just bought them all, even bought the perfume. Wasn't a fan. But I keep spraying it on myself every time I watch Bridgerton, and now I love it. Is that weird? Probably. I did something similar when I was a kid. My mum used to have this videotape with Willow the Wisp on. It was a cartoon from the 70s. Kenneth Williams did the voiceovers. And I was obsessed with it. I used to watch it over and over again. It had Mavis Cruitt, the fairy, Arthur the caterpillar, and Edna, who was a TV, but also a witch. And there was this one time I was watching this episode with the character called the Bookworm, and he was just chomping through this book. And my mum had given me a sandwich with cheese and onion spread. And then after that, for weeks, whenever that episode had come up, I'd have to be eating a sandwich with cheese and onion spread. Thinking about it, I did a similar thing as well when I was a teenager. Whenever I was watching Shrek 2, which I used to watch all the time, I had to be eating Ainsley Harriot's broccoli and Stilton soup. And it was always just at the bit where they were having an argument and throwing chicken and lobster all around the table and Donkey goes, "Donkey!" Oh, memories. Anyway, windows and very mucky windowsill cleaned, and the room is coming on nicely. I don't know if you noticed, but I went in a clockwise direction for this clean. Started in the right-hand corner and just moved around in a circle. Sometimes I find that helps because you get to look at the section you've already done and see how lovely it is. And that gives you the strength to power through and carry on. The window area is my favourite part of the kitchen, and it always makes me so sad when I have to put everything back and block out the light. I think we all know how I feel about the orchids by now, but they're Charlie's babies, so they're here to stay. Although they're not doing too great this year so far. They did start flowering, but not very well, and Charlie cut them all back to start again. I don't know the logic behind it, but apparently that's what you do. But yeah. For anyone who's watching me for the first time, or you've only watched a couple of videos, and you're wondering why I sometimes give little tips like cleaning in a clockwise direction or using a timer, rather than naming specific products or sharing cleaning hacks, it's because my channel's focused less on how to clean perfectly or do things in the best way, and more around how to get through a clean when you lack motivation or you often get distracted. Ways to trick yourself into finding it fun. Because I myself have always hated it. It's for the people who are on track one week and then fall off the cleaning wagon the next. And you often go through this cycle of shame wondering why you can't just be consistent. And if that's the case, I'm the gal for you. It's all about being kind to yourself here. No judging ourselves, just picking ourselves back up, trying again, and experimenting with ways to make things work. Now, we're on to the final corner of the room, the messiest part. I tried to have a go at wiping the dirt and grime off the wall, but it didn't work, and I thought that'd be the case. Never mind. Watch how satisfying this is. The skirting boards behind the table often get neglected, I'm not going to lie. And it's partly because the table's on its last legs, literally. Whenever I try and move it, the legs bend. So I try and move it as little as possible, giving the skirting boards a quick touch up. The floor's discoloured here because we used to have a crate for mushroom, and the bottom of it just rusted, and I just can't get rid of it. I've tried everything. I've tried pink stuff, I've tried bleach, nothing gets rid of it. Next I moved on to the table, which again desperately needed a clean, especially the chairs. And that's because we don't really use it. It always ends up as a dumping ground for the things we don't really have homes for. I wish it wasn't this way, and I've tried to get into a routine of eating at the table, but it always lasts like a week tops, and then we're back to eating in the living room. Which is a shame, because I absolutely love family time around the dinner table. I love having a vase of flowers on there. But as soon as one person puts one thing on there, it just spirals out of control, and then it becomes such an overwhelming job to clear it that I just think, I can't be bothered. Especially when you've had a hard day and all you want to do is just cook dinner and then chill. That red stuff on the floor's tomato sauce, by the way, don't panic. And the bottom of the chairs were all chewed up by Onion when he was a puppy. And when he was alive, I did intend to fill them in and sand them. But now, it's like one of the last reminders we have of him around the house. So now, what I want to do is just clean the chairs and then paint them white, leave the little teeth prints. I think they're lovely and precious. But painting the exposed wood white is going to make the table look cleaner and neater. I'm very optimistic, but I'm hoping now that I've cleaned and painted it and made it clear again, we will start eating at the table from now on. All I can do is keep trying. It's lovely to eat in here in the summer especially, because you get to sit there and look into the garden. I think in the winter and autumn though, I'm more of an eat in the living room kind of girl, because you can get really cosy, get a blanket, sit in front of the telly with some stew. So yeah, I'm definitely more motivated to get the table clear in the warmer weather. That's looking so much better, isn't it? He really did a number on these table legs. At one point, him doing it started to encourage Mushroom to do it, and she'd grown out of chewing furniture. So that was annoying. I remember buying some of that chewing deterrent spray from Pets at Home. Did nothing. Sometimes they just need to chew, and sometimes it's the things you don't think they need to chew. Mushroom never liked to chew hard things. It was always soft, cuddly toys. I think she must have liked the feeling between her teeth, which makes me cringe. Now she likes to chew plastic bottles. She has a collection. Anyway, we're almost finished the clean. If you're still here, hello bestie. Because I know it's been a long one, but I told you I had so much I wanted to get done and I didn't want to split it into 2 parts. But we're on to the last bit of cleaning now, saving the best till last, scrubbing the floor with my scrubbing brush. This is the most satisfying thing to do, and it definitely gives you a good arm workout. For those of you that don't know, I used to mop the floor with a sponge mop, but since I switched to a scrubbing mop and a spin mop, my floors have never been cleaner, when they're not covered in mud, of course. Overall, they're cleaner, because the scrubbing brush gets into all the ridges that other mops can't. It was an absolute task to get rid of this tomato sauce. Got there in the end though. And I just wanted to say that overall, finishing this entire deep clean took almost a week. So it's important to remember, because when you see a clean like this on social media, I don't think it's often made obvious what goes on behind the scenes in between, especially when that person's a parent. But I was cleaning and tidying over and over again in between the deep cleans. Cleaning up pots, making dinner, re-cleaning things I'd already cleaned. You get my drift. It's hard work maintaining a house. And if you're struggling and you've got people in your life making you feel like you're a failure because it should be easy, not everyone thinks it is, trust me. Look at all that revolting water. Now all that's left to do is put everything where it should be, give Mushroom a stroke, and put some lovely tulips on the table because I deserve it after all of that hard work.